Doing nothing, says Simon Gottschalk. Don't know how to say that. How would you pronounce it? Gottschalk?
Yeah.
Gottschalk?
Gottschalk.
We'll say Gottschalk.
Put an accent on it just to.
Doing nothing, says Simon Gottschalk, a professor of sociology at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, has benefits for productivity, health, and forming true social connections. Let me elaborate even further. There's a lot of research that shows when the brain is at rest and is not distracted by so many different sources of stimulation, then new thoughts are possible. The brain starts thinking differently and starts focusing differently on one's environment, he says. So actually, this is a thought I've had in the past. When is the last time you sat silently, Tyler, and just let your mind think and be creative and brainstorm? When's the last time you did that?
It's been a long time. And this is an area that I have tried to focus on for the last year.
Why don't we do that? I mean, think about our day job.
Bro.
Think about how much better we would be at our day job if we would sit and just think and let ideas flow creatively. Yeah, everything we do is just reaction, right? We're constantly in react mode and basing all of our decisions on past experience, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you. Well, we just talked about it. I never sit down and think creatively and just have silence and think, okay, what can I do to actually propel myself forward?
That's right. Yeah. So I read a book, and we've talked about this quite a bit, but I read a book called Get Your Life Back by John Eldredge. It's a faith-based book, but I was at a point in my life, like you said, the world was controlling my routine, my schedule. Everyone was telling me what I had to do, and I was constantly playing catch up. I was constantly moving, but I was never, ever, ever getting ahead. I literally felt claustrophobic all the time because there was always too much to do. You know, I'd get in fights with my wife because I wasn't there with, present enough with my kids or with her. But then there wasn't this and there wasn't, it's like, you never felt like you could win. So I read this book and it talks, most of it is precisely about that. Do nothing.
Yeah.
And it's counterintuitive. And here's the thing. One thing that he doesn't talk about is meditation. The challenge, because I've read other books where that's a big emphasis, where you just sit in the dark and you do nothing. You just meditate, right? The challenge with me, and I had a coach that was on me for all the time, for 2 years. You need to meditate. You need to meditate at least 15 minutes a day. You need to do. The problem is that now became a chore that I had to do. And so the entire time I'm meditating, I couldn't get to a place where, all right, I'm just thinking creatively. I'm like turning my brain off. So my brain was constantly on. So I wasn't sleeping. I was putting on weight. There was so many things. Well, this book, Get Your Life Back, he talks about something that really connected with me was getting out into nature and getting out. It doesn't have to be like, hey, go out in the woods, but go outside and walk. Like, when do you ever set time aside to just go walk? And just like clear your head and just like, okay, I'm going to actually listen to the birds. I'm going to hear the wind. I'm going to look at the beauty that's around us. And I'm really just going to actually let my mind be present and appreciate the things that are around me. And they're everywhere. Yeah. They really are.
Well, to live that, I'm actually, mentioned this before, I'm doing 75 hard right now. And part of it is you have to do a 45-minute workout outside. So I'm living
How the last
proof.
couple of days been for you?
Rough. The time we're recording this, I believe yesterday was in the low 20s and snowing and sleeting. Yeah, that was horrible. And then today's a little better. And
we'll talk more about that.
Right.
We'll come back to that.
But it is amazing during the day when I get outside and I do that workout, if it's a walk, if it's a run, whatever it is, just how much energy it gives me for that afternoon. And then I've even realized in the evenings, so because there's some times where I can't work out till at night, that outdoor workout, but just walking, actually seeing stars, like it's amazing the energy and the recharge that it gives you. And he says doing nothing can seem counterproductive in our goal-oriented culture, but doing nothing isn't being lazy. Taking short mental breaks when learning new tasks can improve your memory and ability to learn a new skill, found a recent study by the National Institutes of Health. We're human beings, and we need time to recreate and recharge ourselves, says Gottschalk. It's not wasted time. It's time we really need to be able to function and remain sane. So that's what it feels like. You feel like you're sitting there, you're doing nothing. I'm just wasting time. But the idea behind it is, no, you're actually it's like a phone, right?
Yeah.
The phone has to be turned off every now and then. The
Yeah.
computer has to be turned off every now and then to recharge, to re-energize.
One thing you did for a little bit, right? You went and got some tests done and you figured out you were vitamin D deficient, which I think all of us could have told you that.
Yeah, by looking at my pasty white skin.
But one thing that you were doing is in the middle of the day, you'd go outside and you'd walk. Now, what I think you would do is like, I'd get on a call and I'd get some stuff done. But one of the things that are very, very productive, if like you're in the office setting, instead of like trying to hammer through everything and just cruise through the day, is block out 20, 25 minutes and literally go for a walk. Don't bring your phone. Don't bring anything. Just go for a walk and watch the increase in productivity when you get back.
Absolutely. And so he gives a couple of approaches you can take. Most of these you've heard 100 times. Number one, disconnect from technology. We've all heard that. But I don't want to skate over that because it is important. And putting your phone away, putting it, in a drawer, put it in another room, it really is crazy when you can just sit there and be present in the moment as opposed to being attached to your phone. You and your wife do something really cool. People come over to your house, everybody's got to put their phone in a bucket or whatever, a basket.
Box. Yeah. It's a little box. Yeah.
And you're not distracted by the phone. You're actually having conversation. I guarantee those nights you feel more community.
That's right.
Those nights because you're not distracted by the phone. Number two, let go after work. If you've had a rough day on the job, it's even more critical to decompress. According to a study published in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology, if your boss or coworkers are negative or abusive, relaxing right after work can be the key to a better night's sleep. Now, I would say if your boss is abusive, maybe a better step is find a new boss, but nonetheless, decompress. This one was interesting. This is for our artistic minds out there. Doodle away, he says. Doodling increases blood flow to the brain's medial prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for regulating our feelings, thoughts, and actions, according to a preliminary research done by Drexel University. Doodling, and to a lesser extent free drawing and coloring, activates the brain's reward circuit that controls emotion and motivation. So all those times that teacher said, hey, you quit messing around, quit doodling, just tell them, hey, I'm actually improving my brain function here.
Yeah, miss.
Get off my back,
hey,
miss.
Miss Teacher Lady.
Get off my back, miss. Skip the binge watching. This was another interesting one, right? It's very easy.
I was going to ask, is decompress, does that count?
Yeah,
does that count when you binge watch a show?
Great question. So you would think, hey, it's 9:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night. Let's just throw on a couple of Netflix episodes. Let's binge watch. I'm not doing anything, right? I'm just sitting around.
Work.
So he says, while you may be tempted to tune out with your favorite show, marathon viewing isn't exactly doing nothing. A University of Michigan study found that young adults aged 18 to 25 who binge watch shows regularly suffered fatigue, insomnia, and poor sleep quality, even though they reported sleeping 7 hours and 37 minutes on average. So they were still getting a duration of sleep that seems acceptable, but the quality of sleep wasn't there. It says if you watch one episode, chances are you might keep going unintentionally. I think we all
I'll do that.
Right? I'm just going to watch one and then 6 hours later. The researchers found that binge watching kept subjects mentally alert, which may have contributed to their poor sleep. So again, you feel like you're doing nothing, but your brain's active, right? You're in the story, you're getting involved, right? So that is not necessarily the best avenue if relaxing and doing nothing.
It'd be an interesting self-study is like, all right, hey, I'm going to watch, 3 episodes of a show, right? And we've got these tools with Sleep Number or Whoop is, all right, I'm going to record what my actual recovery was. I'm going to try to keep all of the variables as close to the same, right? Dinner at the same time. That'd be an interesting study. Binge watching, see how my sleep score is or my recovery score is, and then do it without watching, sleep the same amount of time. Yeah. So alarm, you go to sleep at the same time, alarm at the same time.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be a different recovery. Now it's all not necessarily neurological, right? You're not seeing that, but if that translates to actual recovery.
Well, that's the great thing about these Sleep Number beds, right? Yeah. Is you have the actual technology to be able to do your own study on yourself. You be your own lab rat. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, if it sounds counterintuitive, doing nothing can actually get you ahead. So hopefully you can apply some of those tips.